And I will introduce myself first. It's our honor to join this panel. And my name is Dexter. I come from Fibcom. It's a very traditional hardware middleware companies. We're offering some cellular communication models. And a company based in Shenzhen. And from perspective of myself, the DePIN is totally a new concept, maybe the new patterns. And we are trying to understand and learn and hope that DePIN can give some positive externalities to our very traditional hardware industries. So let's give the time to our speakers. So maybe we can give some self-introduction around.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jose Marcelino. I work for Rock Wireless. This is a company based in Shenzhen. We started our DePIN journey in 2020 with the Helium network, now super popular. We've heard about it already. Now we're going into other DePIN areas. I think it's an exciting area to be in.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joey from C Studio. So we are a hardware facility based in Shenzhen and referring to IoT and AI hardwares. So we see DePIN is a very important industry, so we cooperate with Helium, WeatherXM, and Flux, etc. Yeah.
哎，大家好，我看中国人比较多，我就说中文啊。我是来自JDI 的 partner， 然后我们把自己定义为DePIN生态的一个促进者吧。然后我们做DePIN的硬件生产，还有投资。同时我们也有一条生态里的公链。然后对，最早我是Helium 的miner， 然后去做了它的硬件，然后后来我们又开始做DePIN领域的投资。对，我们在全球拥有超过40万的用户吧，DePIN 的生态里面。然后对，期待今天和大家交流啊。
嗨，大家好，我也好像中文比较多，我就先介绍我自己。我本来就是一个 security guy. I used to do things exactly the same as certain days. So, but now I changed course to make hardware. So I invest chipset company. They call it RISC-V, the latest architecture compared to x86 and ARM. And last year we make the first laptop using the RISC-V chipset. And this year it's going to be making the first AI PC using RISC-V. It's very powerful CPUs. And now we're trying to get the DePIN to adopt more RISC-V chipsets. For example, we hope the last year it went half of our hardware from DePIN should be powered by RISC-V if possible. That's our hope and dream. And the difference from RISC-V is a very open source chipset. So that fits the blockchain. That's all for me.
Okay, so we're talking about the blockchain. I mean, this morning, Mr. Xiaofeng told us BTC is also kind of DePIN. So this some questions puzzle means. DePIN is a new concept or old concept? When we're talking about DePIN, from my perspective, it's kind of a new concept. It's just mentioned last year's. But this morning, Mr. Xiaofeng said the BTC and the miner is also part of the DePIN. DePIN can define everything, everything can be DePIN. So the first question I want to ask every speakers, so how do you understand the DePIN? And what's the hardware can play, which kind of roles in the DePIN project or ecosystems? Okay, so let's start with Jose, Mr.
So the way I see it, DePIN, the real DePIN is about infrastructure, so creating something that the community can use with real hardware out there in the world. So while BTC, you can run it on servers in the cloud, but it's not infrastructure, I would call it. And it doesn't provide the additional service. That's just my view, but it is debatable.
Okay. Joy?
So this question actually made me to think another question. So basically speaking, it's like nowadays, what do you see about your cell phone? So my answer is, it is a computer, right? So what about your smart home devices, I mean like a temperature sensor, in my opinion, it is a computer. So I mean like nowadays, everything is a computer. So actually the thing is like DePIN, like decentralized computing, like BTC. So from the technical aspect, they are the same. But from my perspective, I believe that DePIN refers to the daily life of the people. I mean, the fundamental things that will, influence normal peoples in their daily lives. So that's what I think about a DePIN project, not BTC. Yep.
我说一下我的想法吧，就是这个，比特币是不是低频这个问题没有太大的意义啊。就是说，我觉得这个 Web3是一个这个财富浪潮嘛，对吧？我觉得能让你赚到钱的币才是比特币，对吧？其他的这个币都没有什么意义。你说这个比特币是不是低频，纠结这个问题没有意义，对吧？我觉得能让你发财的才叫比特币，对吧？就每个人都有属于自己的比特币，对吧？这个我可以推荐几个财富密码啊，当然这个推荐几个财富密码啊。对，我觉得DePIN肯定是未来，因为这个它为什么？我觉得人家说比特币是不是DePIN？我觉得DePIN比比特币更好，为什么？因为DePIN能让更多的普通用户相信、接受并参与，这是最大的价值，对吧？但是从单纯的单个币种的价值来讲，我觉得很难有项目能超过比特币，对吧？但是从这个整体的它的对于行业的意义和整个生态的价值来讲，我觉得DePIN的意义是巨大的，对，所以总结来讲的话，我觉得这个要找到属于自己的比特币，对吧？我觉得DePIN就是我们的比特币，对吧？第二个这个我觉得这个DePIN的价值和对未来的这个意义会比比特币更加重大，对吧？然后第三个，我觉得现在DePIN还是一片空白吧，它对于我们的机会，不管从投资还是这个创业，都会比比特币更好，所以期待更多的投资者和这个生态构建者来加入这个DePIN的浪潮，也可以找到我们去获取投资，还有这个我们帮助大家去制造这个硬件，还有构建自己的DePIN应用嘛，对吧？我们全方位都有覆盖啊。这个期待和大家交流啊。
I think Bitcoin probably like gold is asset, and then DePIN is the activity that we can participate with a lot more other people in different ways, and also that, and you can serve not just the financial industry, can any industry, and cross financial to normal business. So DePIN, if we can get it done, get it right, it's going to be not really depend on the cycles because it's a real business. It's a sharing resource business. So as long as your business making money, and you provide values, and then DePIN is a matter means. It's not a destiny. So I would say that DePIN has a lot more imagination than Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the only thing you can do is trade. You cannot share. And DePIN is that I share my things, I earn something from it, and then I grow with a community. And that's what human life is all about. That's all I think.
That's great. Thanks for all answers. And I think Yimin's answer most strike me and make me move. So DePIN, I can give a short descriptions and new definitions. The DePIN is a new BTC if and only if they can make you rich. So I think that's a new definition. I really like it. Okay.
DePIN can make a lot of people rich, not just
Just me.
Really?
not just miner. Now BTC is owned by Wall Street, and the mining factory is owned by the rich people, the capitalized. So DePIN is socialized.
I can't agree more. I think
So
Bitcoin,
we can make people rich, not some of people rich.
absolutely. It's shared by all the humans, not just Wall Street.
It's like people grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they can provide some
Agreed.
basic humanity income,
Yeah.
relying on the deep
Yeah,
infrastructure.
you're right. You're right.
I like these ideas, and they're huge, and it's not only the scientist fictions. Okay, the second question is, from my perspective, many traditional hardwares and even some independent hardware vendors and even some developers want to be rich through the way of the DePINs. How this traditional hardware vendors or even some ecosystem or the partners or the developers can be involved to the DePIN systems? Okay, this is how can we start with the Rene?
I think that's great question. So, a developer kind of a miner as well, but mining the software, right? So, and later on, I think probably in May we will launch so-called developer laptops, powered by RISC-V. So we guarantee the developer can earn money. So if you develop your smart contract on our laptops, we give you tokens. You share your values. So I would say that there's no bias between just the miner or developer. Anyone you contribute your value to blockchain and to the society, exchange another value that give you token and reward back. And then as the community grows and your token values. That's how I see. So solving a software developer getting rich isn't a very difficult thing.
Yeah, for me, I think the example is very important. Like the business model of Alibaba. So Alibaba will make a lot of example of being rich, like Li Jiaqi and Wei in life, right? And a lot of sellers in the Taobao, like yeah. So I think for DePIN developer, I think there are two types of developer. One type is they just want to do some work. I think they can join some ecosystem. And I think one type is like Li Jiaqi and Wei style, and they want to be rich. I think then the new developer need the story. They need to hear, oh, something is happening here. So I think we need more marketing, to let more people know what happened here. Yeah. So 我们需要更多的故事，就是说这个需要更多的这样的落地的案例的应用。比如说传统的，因为 Kickstart 是传统的这个硬件的这个制造厂商，这个众筹平台嘛，对吧？就是说我们需要打造更多的，因为 Helium 的一款硬件是卖了100万台，对吧？就整个市场是卖了100万台，就是 Helium 的这个硬件。然后那传统的一款这个，当然基本上是3家厂商卖了100万台嘛，对吧？然后传统的这个WiFi 啊，包括路由器，其实 Helium 的案例非常好，它是一个物联网。原来那个1台都卖不出去的，然后1000台对吧？1年都很难，对吧？那现在加上 Web3 之后卖了很多台，对吧？我觉得这是一个很好的案例，就各种各样的硬件得加上这样的这个翅膀吧，对吧？伴随美联储放水的这个红利吧，对吧？然后对它就把硬件就变成不只是一个硬件，对吧？也变成一个金铲子嘛，对吧？所以我觉得开发者需要更多的故事吧，同时对于我们行业从业者来说，需要更多的开发者教育，对吧？这2个角度吧。
So I think Yimin want to emphasize is in a DePIN ecosystem, we want to use a small success to lead a big success, to tell more success stories, not only stories, I guess, right? Okay. Do you, Joy, have some comments on this?
So let me take comparisons. Like if you are looking at Alibaba, the Ali Cloud, right, the Tencent Cloud, AWS Cloud. If you're looking at their starter documentations, you will see starter kit for AWS, starter kit for Google Cloud. But now if you are looking at like the chains, I mean the blockchains like Solana, like other blockchains, it is very hard for you to looking at some kind of DePIN starter kit for Solana, etc. So I mean like the DePIN is kind of combination from hardware to the blockchain. So you should know both of them, right? But now it's like very few materials for the starters to get into that. So that's what I see from the developer side, that it is very hard to do that. So let's create something in the near future to help this kind of developers to get into this field more closely or more quickly. Yeah, that's my opinion.
But might have some questions reply to you. So you need to teach some developer and coach them to understand what the Web3 is. So do you have some incentive project or program to make this happen?
Yeah, actually now we cooperating with some chains, I mean public chains, to create some kind of essential, starter kit for them. So maybe we are going to release that next month. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Jose, do you have some comments on this question?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree that it's been very difficult. There are some projects, Streamer and other projects that have tried to address this, but it's having the knowledge for blockchain and IoT and everything is very complicated. And I look forward to the kits that come from seed.
Okay, everyone talking about the developer ecosystem is very important when we want to develop a DePIN ecosystem or transform the traditional hardware to the DePIN hardwares. But let's back to the hardware itself, because we know the hardware. I see there's a lot of the new product in the booth in our stage, and lots of, from my side, is my view is kind of old hardware with the new soul. But let's back to hardware itself. The hardware has its own architecture style and architecture attribute. So I have some questions. And for example, in the Helium project, people are trying to using some consumer level hardwares to reach like a carrier grade service level agreement. I mean, my question is, from hardware, is workable or not? Can we make it happen? Because we want to using some redundancy or some other technologies to using some distribution technologies to reach some very high level SLA. But this is a trade-off, or this should be the future goals when we're talking about DePIN hardware. So, Mr. Jose, do you have some comments on this question?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way this has been addressed so far is kind of like the RAID storage, so having redundant, like you mentioned, redundant systems. And DePIN, I think, provides this by lowering the costs of the hardware and bringing more people to deploy it. So for a traditional telco, for example, it will be very difficult to have multiple locations around, while in a DePIN scalable way, you can do this just by having like all the coffee shops in like a mall adopting one gateway. DePIN, I think, did this very well. So like in New York, there are areas where redundancy is like 20 gateways covering the same location. And I think that's good for the hardware ecosystem because it opens the doors for multiple players to come in, not just one central player. It's allows more people to share the rewards with the community more as well. So it's and by way of that, it brings more people that are getting interested in the projects and buying more hardware. So eventually, yeah, I think it's very good for the hardware companies to decentralize a little bit as well.
So even from a technical perspective, it's still the most cost-efficient way to implement.
Sorry,
I mean, using some redundancy or kind of decentralized
redundancy,
technologies?
I think, is still the key for many projects in DePIN. Yeah, I'm not involved in any project that doesn't rely on redundancy as a kind of failover system for DePIN. Actually, on Helium, so we use also the redundancy to also offer new solutions. So before we had to use, for the trackers, we had to use GPS for tracking. And thanks to the high redundancy of helium, now we can offer geolocation by triangulation. So the redundancy also comes with more opportunities, I think, in the future.
Okay. So did anyone have these questions? I mean, feedback about it.
It's good, good.
Okay. And another question is, because you already have lots of experience in a real DePIN hardware or DePIN project, do you have some questions? Because our topic is DePIN hardware and some global supply chain, something else. Do you have some questions? For example, when we talking about hardware, we always ask two questions: how much and how many? So I'm not sure how do you deal with this problem when as hardware manufacturers or the vendors, especially whatever is a DePIN hardware vendor or just the traditional hardware vendors. I think you always have these two questions you need to deal with. So I'm not sure, do you meet this problem, or how do you fix this? Like a forecasting management, like a supply chain in globally? So at least this is my personal question to all of you.
Yeah, maybe I can be the first. So if you are referring to normal hardware, if you have ever experienced, the shortages for like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you will say, okay, we should delivery in time. That is first challenge. The second thing is reliable of the hardware, right? But that is very fundamental things for the DePIN hardware. But what we see from our experience is like the second one is security. So if you are looking at the dashboard after you delivered hundreds of thousands DePIN hardwares, you will see somebody or some kind of bad actors is kind of playing your hardware. So security comes second. And maybe there will be a third one. It's like, as a hardware supplier, people always still say, hey, you should deliver my hardware. But another thing is like, how do you shorten the timelines of your project? So what I see is like, if the hardware not only provide the hardware, but also provide the hardware-related software, I mean like the D-apps, like the fleet management, everything related, I think that will be significantly shorten the timelines of the project. So that's my idea. Yep.
Okay. Also, do you have?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll add to that. So I think the way we solved it at RAC, so we were like the initial helium bull market, and we saw the whole cycle, and also the shortages. The way we managed that was making the hardware modular. So we relied on a known platform, the Raspberry Pi, which is very traditional for DePIN projects, and we just added a layer to add the kind of the LoRa concentrator, which is the radio part for helium, and made it in a box. So having this modularity helped us because we could source Raspberry Pis all over the world very quickly. We could source LoRa concentrators all over the world. So that was good. And when the market came down, that was also a very big help for us because we could then use the Raspberry Pis for other projects that were not doing so well at the moment. So the whole modularity, I think, is maybe a key thing for DePIN in the future, especially for new projects. And it's a big bet for us. Even our IoT hardware is also modular, so it's a big driver. So being able to reuse parts in the future for DePIN, non-DePIN projects is key.
Okay, very clear. Any comments?
对，我觉得现在其实对硬件厂商来说，现在因为 DePIN 的硬件的特点是它并没有传统的，因为我们现在也在做狗币的矿机，对，莱特币的矿机，因为现在其实在 DePIN 的矿机其实本质上难度并不是特别大，严格意义上来说，相对于传统的硬件制造来说，都是一些通用型的设备，所以其实未来应该整个生态的制高点，其实我们现在也在自我迭代吧。这个一方面是做这个往芯片上走，做这个莱特这些的矿机，另一个是我们在做这个主要还是往用户侧走吧，因为我们作为第一波的这个厂商，手里有这个大概这个过百万吧，这个 整个 DePIN 生态的用户，所以我们家主要发展重点是围绕这个 DePIN 的用户，因为你没有用户的话，一切都是 shit， 对吧？都是空谈，对吧？所以没有用户的话，而且一定要是终端在家里的用户，我觉得才对于 DePIN 的用户才有意义，就真正能建立深度的链接，这样我觉得对于整个这个生态才是有价值的，对吧？所以我觉得，供应链应该目前不是最大的问题，对，对，之前确实遇到过问题，但是都是可以解决的，这并不是涉及到芯片啊这些，特别大的问题，目前这块不是重点，我觉得。
Do you have some comments?
I agree with Yimin. I don't think the volume compared to consumer electronics, the volume of DePIN it is nothing. Really, it is nothing. So when we do our factory, we do every month do KK volumes in consumer electronics. So the whole DePIN now is probably 1 million. That's equivalent 1 month of factory stuff. So from supply chain, hardware supply chain, I don't think it's a problem. I think the main problem is still on. I agree with Jose said modularize is a great way for sharing the hardware components across different products. It's like as the coming DePIN laptop we do is all fully modularized. So you can reuse all the display, all the Wi-Fi module, SSD and DDR, and you can even replace the motherboard. So it's modularized is definitely the way to go, especially for high-end and fun to play. Like all the DePIN guys probably initial adopter are still geeky guys. So that's I think. And then Yimin says that I think for DePIN to successful really has to go on to the really end user, mass volume end users, not just a hobbyist. Hobbyists won't get DePIN anywhere. It has to be mass volume. One way we're saying that if the 大妈买黄金, if you reach that level, then DePIN is classified successful.
But it looks to me it's very sad answers. When we talk about hardware, everyone talking about hardware is not enough. Not so much important. The user is important. Maybe the chipset is important. I think that's very sad answers to me. But when we talk about the users and chipset, the two factors, the user is already, decentralized enough. But for the chipset, do we have some way, like computing architectures or even like a new open source technology like RISC-V will be made the hardware more decentralized? So
probably stuff for me, I'm a software guy, I'm pretty sad. All the way to making hardware product, investing chipset company. Now we have to fab our own chipsets. So it's pretty sad, because you look at the geopolitics, and it's really easy to get locked up. One day AWS saying I cannot do blockchain anymore. So probably most of the chain is gone. So it's not decentralized enough. And then the second day is that NVIDIA say, sorry, your car's not supposed to do any mining, only gaming. It lock up your car and all your DePIN resources becomes a garbage. So look at this way, because it's monopoly. Why we talk about blockchain? It's one thing we try to deal with is monopolies and dictators. But you will find out in the chipset, we're only in the dictatorship land. Your Intel, ARM, Qualcomm, Fibicon, Qualcomm, how big is it, right? No one has a say, right? So that's why I find it now under the next decade, that I call it a very interesting decade. From globalization becomes localizations. So, and then I drum myself into RISC-V. And it's an open source ISA. No one owns nothing. It's the community. All the people owns it. No one, no company, no nothings. So, and then now most of the core IP, CPU IP is open source. And anyone on here interested to make your CPU? Very simple. Go on to download a source code, fab it into a FPGA, it just runs. All right. So, and more tools come with open source. One thing they trying to counter is geopoliticals. There's some bad guys, like whoever attacked Ukraine, you know. Those are insane, right? And plus the AI is coming. So open source software, open source model gonna win. Because open source model let people evaluate how bad it is, how evil it is. So bound to it. So for the hardware to do the training and inference, you more and more go on to open source. Because the way you train it, you don't train an evil, man, you know, in the closed source, right? When you inference, you don't inference then yourself to everybody, you know, evilize. Right? So I would say only the sun sees when anything the sun sees it, it's a good. Anything the sun doesn't see is darkness. That's how I see it. I say open chipset way is definitely fits the blockchain, and from decentralized, from the spirit, and from the open source openness, it's definitely the way to go. It's very interesting for the decade. I will devote myself into it. That's all.
那个我看还有几分钟啊，我打个广告啊。那个明天下午我们在那个数码港有一个 DePIN 的硬件大会，我们准备是举办成这个叫 DePIN 的 CES， CES 是美国的这个消费电子展嘛，然后我们要打造的是这个叫这个 Web3 的这个 CES， 就是会有各种各样的硬件啊。Yeah, so I made a advertisement. So tomorrow we'll have a Web3 CES in Cyberport. So we want to make a Web3 CES. So first day is Hong Kong, and at the end of this year we will hold big events in Vegas as a side events of the CES. So welcome to all the people. So we have beers and beautiful girls there. Wish you could come. Yeah, and so
And hardware as well.
and hardware. Hardware is the third important thing, I think. Yeah, hardware is the tools. Okay. Hardware is the tools. Yeah, we want our tools to achieve those two things. Yeah. So. As for, so what's the question?
Okay, the question is how do we decentralize hardware?
Oh,
using some
I think so. So in Web3, I think so the information and your view about the things is most important. I think for the traditional hardware company, it's a challenge to adjust your direction immediately because this market changed too fast. So you need a flip organization to face this challenge. So I think for decentralized hardware, I think it's not our Web3's mission, right? That's the rock chip, that's NVIDIA, and this company's mission is to solve this problem, right? I think for us all who stand here, I think the most important thing is to make more people know this idea, to inspire more developers, and to provide more service to the users is most important, I think. So in the supply chain in Shenzhen, a lot of people already solve this problem for us, I think. For people who come in here, I think it's no problem, right? So Web3 need more. It's more about the knowledge. It's more about the I don't want to say brainwashing, right? So it's about changing people's mind about this new concept. It's very important. So yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah.
So there's 2 points of view. Yunin is mentioned the risk for any kind of open source tech way is like a sunshine can help us to decentralize the risk of the hardwares. And Yiming also emphasized the user, the importance of user, importance of scenarios. I think the two answers is starting to conflict. And because we are running out of time, I prepared the last questions. I hope everyone can give some ideas what's the very interesting the DePIN project you are developing or you are wants to share with us, especially like the fortune code, the 财富密码, like Yiming mentioned before. So let's last the question. Start with Jose.
Yeah, so it's no secret we are very interested now in like solar power. We are working with Sourceful. You can see our miner there as well. I think it's a very fast-growing area to these carbon credits and the virtual power plant systems. And yeah, looking forward to that.
Well, maybe I can introduce a direct project called WeatherXM. So maybe some of you already know that. And like real needs and the data values, maybe it will become the next demo or hive-mapped project. Yeah, that's 财富密码.
Yeah, the things I'm going to talking about is very important. Yeah, so from my perspective, I think there are three directions for DePIN. So one is around your home, like solar panel is around your home, the Wi-Fi is around your home. And so I think we should think this problem in specific scenario. Like you need to have a space, right? So your home is a space. So how to change your home with the Web3 is a good direction. That's Wi-Fi. Helium is a good example to make more connection for the home. Like, and the second is, for example, is demo. So mobility is a good space, right? So in the car, a lot of things you can do with DePIN, right? I think this is the second important things. And the third is, I think, is a big future about how to care your body, right? So I think there will be many hardware around your body, like to sense your health data. So I think these three directions is very important. So around different space. So for your home, it's a space. For your car, it's a space. For your body, it's another space. So I think that's the future of DePIN. Yeah. So that's my opinion.
Just can you give us a code directly?
Code?
Can we give us a code?
Too much.
The code 的项目名称。
Rabbit.
Oh, right.
Rabbit is a meme of DePIN.
I agree with Yiming. You know, the personnel-wise, you know, work-wise, home-wise, and commute-wise. So, like us, we are going to this year we're going to launch free project coming along, modularized laptop for the work-wise, you know, and then we have a modularized mobile, next generation mobile using satellite, and then we have mobility charging around Hong Kong and Macau. So that's all you need. I totally agree with Yiming. Whatever he says, I hit all the jackpots.
Understood. Basically, it's the scenarios relate to the high-value object, like humans or like vehicles.
Yeah, vehicles in your home.
Yeah,
So like Xiaomi do and Tesla do, you know what? Right. So Apple's do. Yeah. So.
Okay.
So I think big things will happen here. So now it's just the end, just the beginning. Yeah. So I think now for DePIN, only 10% things happen already. Yeah. And so I think there's another 19% things happen in the future. So who come here is lucky. Yeah. So you guys are lucky guys can come here. So yeah. Congratulations. You own the future. Yeah.
Yeah, your future billionaire.
Yeah.
Okay, I think today we are running out of time, and thanks everyone to join our panels and to hear the fortune code, the 财富密码, and it's lucky for us. And I hope everyone, if you have time, we can join the Yiming when and how, when and where.
Yeah, tomorrow in Cyberport, and the important person in DePIN area will join our meeting, and a lot of users and KOLs will join our party. So welcome you two guys tomorrow from 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thanks. If you have time, we can discuss here or tomorrow in the evenings meetings.
Yeah.
And also, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
you.